Hi everyone. Today and right now we are going to talk about deep dive into the orgasm and especially looking from perspective of Tao masters. Orgasm is number two reason for women seeking sex therapy. And the number one reason is desire, so orgasm is reason number two. And something that like the core we need to know about orgasm, that fundamental foundations of orgasm are trust and relaxation, which makes sense when we, for a lot of women, when we masturbate, we will receive orgasm easily. But then with the partner it's not as easy, because we trust ourselves but not necessarily trust the partner. So there is something to explore of how, when we are in relationship, how we can increase the trust. And a lot of cases for patients who see sex therapy, that someone who had just like relationship, like not very good relationship with a lot of problems, no orgasm, and then they moved to a different relationship when it was kind of okay, orgasm was happening occasionally, and then they just fell in love, they connected with someone, they found the right person, and they feel authentic, vulnerable, and then they have regular orgasms. So that's like very common, what the sex therapy specialists can see. Um, Orgasm is part of components for sexual pleasure. So if you look at sexual pleasure as the whole, there are three components. The first one comes desire, then arousal, and then orgasm. So they come like one after another. So if you go into sex and we don't have much desire, and then we are not aroused yet, and we already go for penetration and thinking like, maybe it will come on the way, maybe I will have orgasm later. Nope, that usually doesn't happen. So orgasm has to build up. There is a definition that orgasm is a peak experience that follows intense arousal. So it has to be desire, then arousal, and then orgasm comes. Tao masters explain that for healthy life, we have to have regular orgasms, and women, we can have many orgasms, and it's so natural, and it's just so we built for that. Um, Men orgasm is different. They have orgasm, and then they have to rest after it for some time. So usually like when men like and I talk about orgasm with ejaculation, which is like common. So I'm talking about men who are not trained to orgasm without ejaculation. So after men orgasms with ejaculation, there is some time that man needs to rest, and then they can have sex again. And the younger man, the sooner the time comes. For women, after we have orgasm, we are ready for the next one, for the next one, for the next one. So they can come one after another. And there are exceptions. So some women experience orgasm like as I described for men. So that's totally normal. We're all different. Another scene for to look out for orgasms is expectations, and intentions are very important. So neuropsychology explains how the brain connected to our senses. So if you were on a bicycle and you looked at the road and it was moving, and then you stop and it keeps moving, like, you know, the experience I'm talking about, that very often what we expect to see, we see it. So like how brain sends to our eyes what we will see, and then eyes send back to brain what they see. So it's like constant exchange. So very often what we expect, this is what we will get. So to feel in sexuality, it's the same. So very often when what we expect, we will experience, like we will feel it. And for a lot of women, like they have this, like this one type of orgasm they experience, and then every next time the brain, which is our the most important sexual organ, our brain expects exactly the same orgasm, just one, and it keeps like every time we keep expecting it, and this is what we are getting. So knowing this, there is invitation to open up our mind and to know that there are so many interesting, amazing type of orgasms. And in the last session, one before last, when we were discussing orgasms, and we heard that every woman has such a different experience. We are all so different, and like when we are not limiting ourselves, this is very, there are a lot of things so possible for us. So the Multiorgasmic Woman book, which is written by Mantak Chia, says that if you haven't experienced orgasm yet, it's and you're already a conscious woman, you can create this like your first experience, knowing and understanding the techniques of orgasm. You can create it in a way like you can create it without those limitations, that you can know that it's like so expensive and there are so many different types, and like your body is capable of so much that you can like being open to that and practicing just relaxation and trust, and energy, moving energy in the body. That's something that can bring some outstanding experience for those who haven't experienced it. Um, Even another thing, which is the Tao focus and as well Tantra, teach not to focus on orgasm, that not to have it as a goal. Because very often in today's life, when people are so focused on having orgasm, it's like the sex is becoming very small, just can be very short, not as enjoyable. Just like, okay, did you come? Yes. Did you come? Yes. Okay. Okay, we're good. So that's just like quick, come, done. But sex is so much deeper than that, and we can use vibrator and have orgasm very quickly, but it can't replace the times being with the partner and like the connection, the feelings of togetherness and this flow and feeling body, and all of this is just that's why we have a partner, that's why we exchange this sexual experience with partner, because when we do it on our own it's one experience, but when we do it with a partner it's just like connecting of these two energies, two bodies. So orgasm doesn't have to be a goal. It's very important not to have it as a goal. It comes as a dessert. Like when you're in a restaurant and you are eating the meal and you're not even planning for dessert, but then time just came, time flew by, and dessert arrived. So this is how orgasm has to be experienced. When we are like really trying to have an orgasm, that's when it's really difficult to experience it. Um, and uh, and to add to that, that orgasm is not a goal, and feeling it, experiencing it is a very amazing experience. It's just like this is something that humans have, just like outstanding, wonderful body experience, and it releases hormones. And that's how Tao masters connect our well-being. That like when we're healthy, that when we have satisfied sex life with numerous orgasms, then we can feel like we have all the hormones created in our body, and we don't need extra stimulus like eating chocolate or like some things that we are trying to bring that experience in our body. So those hormones are good for us, and so orgasm is healthy for us. It's not only pleasurable, it's as well healthy to have it regularly. So what are the roadblocks? That if you're not having orgasm right now, or you don't have it as frequently, maybe it's like difficult to experience it. So what are the roadblocks to look out for? The first one is medication, and especially antidepressants. A lot of them have ingredients which affect orgasm, like how we talked about hormones, like in the body everything is connected. So medication is something that you might want to ask your doctor. There are specific antidepressants which don't have which don't interfere with orgasm. So the next roadblock is stress and anxiety, and this is something how when we have in life, so when we have when we live a relaxed, healthy life, when we are in a loving, supportive relationship, it's so much easier to want sex and to have orgasms versus when we are stressed and just constantly experiencing fear, anxiety, then coming home and being in the bedroom, it's not natural for us to just get like transform into this like very sexy woman who is like riding the waves of pleasure. Then we are coming in the bedroom and we want to fall asleep because we are just like so fed up with life, right? So that's something to look at how our life is, which is everything is connected: sex, life, sex. But then another anxiety and stress can be in the moment when we are having sex, and that's something to make sure that environment is safe and you feel you can relax. And another portion is trust with the partner. That, for example, my just recent example, when I was stressing out that I will not have orgasm very quickly, and then my partner will think that like something is wrong with me. So I talked about it, that I openly shared that this is my fear before we had sex, that um, it might take me a long time to have an orgasm, or like maybe I will not have it at all. And I don't want to feel that something is wrong with me. And then after I talked about it, I totally relaxed. And in a new relationship, I didn't have orgasms for a while, but then after some time, I started having them. So that's another part that it's very often described how even we are excited and we love that person and we are just feeling this very intense feelings. But still, there is like some time needed to build that trust, the level when we can just so relax that we have very juicy, deep orgasm. Um, the next one is relationship challenges. That honest communication, being vulnerable, authentic, is very important for our satisfied sex life. So having connection helps us to relax, open up, and enjoy and orgasm. And the last one, the bodily comfort, is something that um, we have to like be like to really be okay with our bodies, like to accept it, not judge it, to fall in love with it. That's the best. And just being comfortable in our bodies, and then that leads to more again to more relaxation, and just being able to ride those waves of pleasure and not stressing out how I look now, what's happening, like am I just like not to stress out about those things of like being perfect or how I look, but just to be so comfortable and good with the body. And something to add up, what we already talked about, the flock of birds, that how birds just traveling in a flock, and they don't have leader, no one is telling them where to go. They just so connected that they do everything together, and they follow this rule that um, avoid danger, stay next to your neighbor, um, just be connected. And so we can see that like, oh, like something like there is a sound and like all birds flew together. So that's something like if you think that our brain is like the flock of birds. And so when we are in the process of enjoying sex and just like very close to having orgasm, and it's important, like we can have okay orgasm or we can have outstanding, just amazing orgasm when stars just turn into rainbows. And for that orgasm, for that outstanding one, we have we need to have all the birds arrive together. So the flock travels together. Imagine that you are enjoying in this moment, and then some birds flew thinking, oh, did I turn off the oven? Other birds thinking, oh, how my kid is like, is my kid like how my kid is doing? Then my feet are cold. So some birds flew there. Or like, oh, is my body, am I looking good? Like, oh, am I good? Like, oh, is my belly showing? So when we have those like different distribution of birds, so some of them will arrive to orgasm, but it will be just okay. And when we manage to just like really have our brain, our most important sexual organ, to focus on that just all together. When birds all together arrive, then when they have outstanding, amazing orgasm. That's all I have about orgasms. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon. Have a wonderful time. Bye bye.